Malawi has established diplomatic relations with different countries. And today, I am here, the residence of the American ambassador to Malawi, Virginia Palmer, my guest today in Cruise 5. Let's go ahead and meet her.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Fantastic. Oh my God, what is this?
These are my babies. This is Aaliyah, who's in graduate school in America.
Wow.
And Nadia, who actually is working in Malawi and living here.
She is here?
Yes.
She's in Malawi?
Yes.
But they don't look like babies.
I know, they're all grown up. Yeah, she's 26 and she's 24.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you so much for welcoming us. If we could find somewhere to sit.
Great.
Piano.
You know, my mother is a piano teacher.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, so she's happy that that's here. But I don't have any talent.
That's what I was going to ask.
No, sadly, I don't.
You have never learned to play the piano?
No, I took lessons. I've been taking, I quit, but I started taking guitar lessons from Niels Nylar.
Guitar?
Yeah, but so I want to pick that back up. But the piano, sadly, no. No,
what a pity.
that's for others.
I was looking forward to you playing me a singing.
Yeah, sadly, no.
Sorry about that, please.
Thank you.
So thank you for welcoming us in your beautiful house.
Thanks, I'm glad to have you here.
Fantastic house. I mean, when I came here, I was like, oh my God, where can I sit? Where can I sit? There's so many nice spaces in here. But let's talk about you as Ambassador Virginia Palmer. Where do you come from? I know you come from America.
I do.
So tell me you come from America. But where exactly did you grow up? Where were you born?
I say I'm a Virginian, and that my parents named me Virginia because they were homesick. So I grew up, though, in the middle of the United States. That's why they were homesick. So I grew up in St. Louis, and I graduated from high school there, and I went to Washington University in St. Louis. And the nice connection with Malawi and WashU is that that's where President Mutharika taught.
Exactly, yes, the current president.
Exactly. So
he got many years down there.
He did, 39 years.
39 years, that's a long time.
He was in the law school, and I was studying history and international relations, so I didn't take any of his classes.
Oh, what a pity.
But his children went to school when my brother and sister went to school, and so it's nice when we talk, we reminisce about St. Louis. It's nice to catch up that way.
As a family, how many are you in your family?
I have a brother and a sister, so 3 kids in that family. And then my little family now, I'm married to Ismail, who is originally South African, but is now American. And we have 2 daughters, who you saw as you came in. One is 26 and the other is 24.
Beautiful daughters.
Thank you, I'm
beautiful
fond
daughters.
of them.
Ismail, does he stay here?
He does.
What does he do? Does he work?
You know, he just, like last month, retired. He was also a diplomat. He's an accountant by training. So the first 7 years I was in the Foreign Service, I got married and then joined the Foreign Service right away. And the first 7 years, he followed me to postings and looked for a job each time. And then after 7 years, figured, oh, no, if you can't beat them, join them.
Exactly.
So he joined the Foreign Service, and he came in mid-level because we needed accountants. So then he was senior to me. So he said I had to make the coffee and take out the trash. But it's been nice because we've been posted together for most of our careers.
Oh, really? Was that by design or?
Yeah. And then the Foreign Service saves money because they only have to give you 1 house instead of 2 houses.
Yes, exactly. So it's a huge saving.
Yeah. And
are they? I'm just curious to know if they are allowed to. If you are serving here as a diplomat.
Yeah.
Would you work here in Malawi?
You know, we have couples that work together. You can't work for each other. So once I got senior and became a deputy ambassador, he couldn't work in the mission because everybody in the mission worked for me, kind of. So when I served in Vietnam, he served in Thailand. And he would come up and visit us a couple of weekends a month. And then we would go down to Thailand, which was fun. Another weekend in the month. So it did fine. And people say it's harder to live together after than it is to live apart. So I'm still married, so that worked out fine.
Well, I guess you should be very happy now because I mean you're here together.
Exactly.
And everything must be exciting.
I am well married. He's very supportive, and I'm grateful. I think that's very important.
This show is not just about knowing you; it's also about knowing what kind of music you like. Do you like music?
I do.
Are you crazy about music like the way I am?
I am.
Because I'm really, really crazy about music.
When you talked to me about doing the show, though, I realized, there's so many different kinds of music.
Yes.
And what do you say is your favorite?
Exactly. It's so difficult to choose.
Indeed.
What kind of music do you like? Because I know you must listen to a lot of music, but then there's a certain kind of music that is really close to your heart.
Well, I have 3 different kinds, I think, that are close to my heart. Well, I like to dance.
Oh, really? You do?
So I'm enjoying the music in Africa, and I've got some African songs that are my favorites.
Can you dance the African music? Because they've got their own vibe.
Well, the nice thing is you can just kind of do your own thing, right? Nobody judges.
We always say, you guys don't know how to dance.
Well,
I mean, you need to watch an African dancing and then you're like, okay, look, I thought I know how to dance, but this is something else.
It's true. There's some old ladies, actually, when I go to the village, I'm like, I need to stay longer.
Yeah, you're like, how are you able to do that?
Yeah. How did you move that part of your body? But I do like that, and I like African music, and also just being able to do your thing. You know, nobody particularly cares about the steps.
Yeah, just jump around.
Fun. Yeah. And I like classical music because my mother is a piano teacher.
Oh, yeah.
So I grew up with a lot of classical music in the house.
Yeah.
And then, sort of true to my Southern American roots, I like country music.
Did any of your siblings learn how to play the piano? Because I mean, you had a mother for a piano teacher.
Yeah, we all took lessons. You know, for the required at least 2 years.
Yes.
And then none of us really play, I'm sad to say. Yeah.
Okay.
And my daughters, I
Mama
forced
must
my
be very
daughters to take
disappointed.
lessons. Yes, indeed. I'm disappointed.
Oh, such a disappointment. What first song would you like us to play for you?
Well, you want to play a Malawian one first?
Oh, no problem.
All right.
Whatever. You listen to Malawi music as well?
I do. I'm a fan of a couple of people.
Yes.
But I'm right now, I'm listening to Tigrin.
Tigrin?
Yes.
Tigrin is huge.
Limbani Kalilani, yeah.
Yes.
And
you even know his name.
I do. And I actually really like him. He's a he for she champion.
Yeah,
so he's done some really sort of powerful things, I think, and good things.
Yes.
And he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
So one thing I don't know if your viewers will know, but he challenged me to play Words with Friends. And because I love to play Scrabble and Words with Friends and that kind of thing.
Yes.
And he is whooping me.
Oh, really? Oh, my goodness. I didn't know about that.
He's good at it.
Yeah. I didn't know about that.
I was telling my father how humiliated I had been by my Malawian rapper friend.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
And he said, well, you know, if you write rap music, it's about words.
Yes.
So it's natural.
So you need to have a lot of vocabulary, powerful vocabulary.
Right.
And you know a lot of words.
Yes.
So Limbani Kalilani, Tigrin. He's very famous now, especially for his latest song.
I like that latest one.
Tola. I mean,
and my people said, don't mention Tola because it's suggestive, but I really like it.
It's very suggestive. It is very suggestive. Okay, so there you have it. Let's see some Tigrin.
Let's go. So yeah, on the beat.
Busy, y'all, busy, yeah. Tease 'em all, tease 'em, eh. Oozing fire from my body, things I know that you gon' like. Checking, know you're checking me. On the floor, they checking. Come on over, groovy lover, show me your lingo dance.
Tani onete, mene uvinila mo, mene utikila mo, baby wande fika mo. Ndigu onete, mene ndivinila mo, mene nditikila mo, baby ndiku fika mo. Cantole tole, bend it over slowly. Love it when you dip it. Back it on me only. Cantole tole.
Love it when you hold me. Push it on me gently. Give it to me only. Yeah.
Cantole tole. Bend it over slowly. Love it when you dip it. Back it on me only. Cantole tole.
Love it when you hold me. Push it on me gently. Give it to me only. Yeah. Mola ameumba na wewe umeumbika, mapendo ninayokupa ayo.
Wakuduma ndani we, kutugwe tembina iwe, dona ya chipongwe iwe, tembenu. Wandipata tanzine, ndakumedwa nawe we, wandimaliza ine, tembenu.
Maswali mengi kaka hayafai, rechu napokea mauna kujidai. Let me break a sweat, Becky Azzy, Gabiet, give you something you won't forget, baby, yeah.
Cantole tole, bend it over slowly. Love it when you dip it. Back it on me only. Cantole tole.
Love it when you hold me. Push it on me gently. Give it to me only. Yeah.
Cantole tole. Bend it over slowly. Love it when you dip it. Back it on me only.
Some nice music there. And that's the first choice from my guest today in Cruise 5, Ambassador Virginia Palmer. She's the American ambassador to Malawi.
Actually, there's one thing else I should mention about Tegra.
Yes,
is he's also got another song. I put it on there, which is less well known, but it's called "Reach for Your Dreams," which is about girls staying in school, which is very important.
Oh yeah, and you did mention the He for She campaign.
I did. Thank
Tell us
you.
more about it.
Well, and there's He for She is there are 9 sort of principal champions, and President Mutharika is one.
Yes.
And then UN Women has designated some other ones because I think women's issues and things like gender-based violence aren't really only about women, and they're not about women talking to each other.
Yes.
We need male champions.
Exactly.
For girls staying in school.
And I think thing is, when all this talk about gender-based violence was coming about, and when people started talking about it openly, it all started as a woman thing. And I think everybody forgot about the man. It was all about empowering the woman and getting the woman to open up and talk about it. And then people said, wait a minute, we need everybody in this. We also need the men.
Exactly. And there's some great Malawian men who are saying good things. President Mutharika is leading the charge, I think, and done some really important legislation. Yes. Has an adolescent girls and young women strategy, which is the first in Africa. Yes. It's going to be really important. I went to Paramount Chief Gomani V's Cultural Day, Ngoni Cultural Day, a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah, you went there.
He made a powerful speech, I thought, about HIV and about gender-based violence and girls staying in school. And I was just like, Bayete.
Yes, I'm fascinated that you went to that. It's called Umshangano Angoni. I don't know if you'll be able to say that. Did they make you wear the traditional attire?
You think I pulled it off?
The animal print.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. We know you as Ambassador Virginia Palmer. Where have you been to in your...
Well, I spoke Chinese and I wanted to go to Africa, so they sent me to Canada for my first tour. But then I went from Canada to Beijing. So I spent a couple of years in Beijing.
Oh, really?
And then in Africa, I served in Zimbabwe for 4 years, and Kenya for 3 years.
Oh, you were in Zimbabwe?
I was. I loved Zimbabwe. And I thought the Zimbabweans...
In Harare?
I was. I thought Zimbabweans were the nicest people on the planet until I came to Malawi.
And then you found us.
It's
you shouldn't have come here.
It's true.
People say we are the warmest people around.
True. That warm heart of Africa is not just an advertising slogan, it's true.
Oh, really? Well, you're just trying to make me feel good
it's true.
About being a Malawian.
I find that poor people here give money to beggars.
Yeah.
And people look after each other for the most part.
Yeah.
I think you could be a little more outraged about some things.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that niceness, there should be a limit to it.
I was basically just trying to know more about how you got introduced to all this diplomatic life, and you were telling me about the exposure that you had in South Africa,
right?
And how that kind of changed your thoughts about.
So I actually really always wanted to be in the Foreign Service. I didn't just want to be an expatriate. I wanted to work for the U.S. government overseas, and do the sort of government-to-government work that diplomats do. Yeah. That's the part of the newspaper I read, is the international politics and the national politics. And so I studied international relations in university and then did graduate school in the same field. And then for our Foreign Service, you take an exam, and then you take an oral exam, and then you pass the security clearance. So I went through all those steps and joined our service.
You were really focused. This is what you always wanted to do.
Pretty much,
This is what you always, I mean, it's always amazing when you end up doing what you really wanted to do as a young person.
It is a blessing, actually, and whenever I've gotten maybe a little frustrated with it, I've gotten promoted, or I've changed countries.
Let's talk about the frustrations, but maybe let's look at the sunny side first. What do you really like about it?
Well, I do feel like I love serving in a place like Malawi because, again, it's nice to live amongst Malawians, but also because it's the kind of place where the United States can be helpful, I think, and we can do things here that can be an example for the rest of Africa, because Malawi is such a good partner.
Yeah.
So I love that about it. When I was younger, too, I felt more influential than I would have been on my own because I was speaking as the United States, not just as Virginia.
Yeah.
So I had conversations with people in Zimbabwe, and I was conscious of the fact, like, oh my, he's way senior to me. But we were having a good, back and forth because they knew that I was coming from someplace completely different than them.
Tell me about speaking for your country. It's a huge responsibility.
Well, you're still just...
Do you have that feeling when you're talking to me, or just like you get used to it?
Well, you get used to it.
Yeah.
And when you're more junior, you can just be yourself and
just
tell
express
people
yourself.
Yeah, and tell people how you got around to an idea. Like, this is our policy, and I didn't like it initially, but this is how I came to sort of be able to live with it.
Yeah.
And you can be really frank. The more senior you get, the more committed you are to your talking points, and the less leeway you have about things like that.
I would never live like that.
Yeah.
It's so difficult, I think.
Well, you don't lie. I mean, I think it's also important to be true to yourself and to be honest with people.
Yeah.
And I think if people know you're being honest, then you can give and take.
Yeah.
And if they think you're faking or lying, then they won't give you the time of day.
Well, because I think you're always trying to be too nice to people. Can you be too blunt and too straightforward?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah?
I think you can talk as friends do, and be frank.
I just say, well, wait a minute, this is not working.
Yeah,
this
I think
is
so.
not good.
I think it's important to give credit where credit is due, but I think it's also okay to say, hey, my brother, that's not on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So which African countries have you lived in?
I lived in Zimbabwe,
Okay.
in Kenya, and when I was in Kenya, I covered 14 countries, so I traveled a lot,
Whoa.
including Malawi. So I had come to Malawi before I was posted here.
There must have been a lot of traveling.
It was, yeah, and then South Africa,
Okay.
and finally Malawi. I said I was working my way up.
Yes. So, finally you're here. You're here at the top. Tell me the difference between living in one African country to another. Are we that different? Because I haven't had the privilege of living in another African country for that long. And
Well, it depends. There's some things that are the same that I do love and long for, like the way in Africa you sort of touch each other when you get a joke, and that kind of stuff. I love that, and how things are personal.
I didn't know that's a peculiar
It
thing
is.
to Africans.
No, Americans don't do that.
Yes, they
and,
don't.
And Americans, I think, are also very friendly, but
Yes.
but we're also kind of transactional.
Yes, yes.
Hi, how are you? What can I do for you?
Exactly.
And it wouldn't be like, how's your family? How's your auntie?
Yeah.
And give a real answer to those questions. So I love that about Africa.
Thank you so much. Let's get on to our next track now.
Okay.
Yes, we had a bit of Tay Green earlier. Next.
I'll give you another dancing song because I have a good story.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I feel like dancing already.
Yeah. I really like Pata Pata by Miriam Makeba.
Fantastic
Classic, right?
song.
Yeah.
Fantastic song.
And it is like the most dancing song. So
Yes,
you put it on even the
Have
car.
you
and
danced
have
to
to
that
dance.
song
I have. That's my story.
Uh-huh.
I was charge d'affaires in South Africa when President Obama came. And so we went to the state dinner and they played Pata Pata. And the state dinner is very formal and you're
Yes,
sitting there.
yes.
And but then I started doing like that because you just have to in your chair. And then I looked up and Michelle Obama was doing the same thing. So we finally stood up.
She's got the groove as
She
well,
does,
Michelle,
absolutely.
yeah.
And so we started dancing, and then the president joined us. And then, the Secret Service comes, and it became kind of a scrum. The Secret Service was unhappy with me. But I left the state dinner then, and I flew to Cape Town to meet his plane the next day. And he got off the plane, and he shook the foreign minister's hand. No, he shook my hand first, I guess. And he said, he made me happy as a mother. He said he'd met my daughters, and they were nice girls. And I said, oh, thank you very much. But then he shook hands with the foreign minister, and he said, oh, your charge d'affaires has moves. I thought, that's my one bragging story about President Obama.
I should see those moves. Pata Pata, Miriam Makeba, fantastic song. That's the second choice from my guest today in Cruise 5 as ambassador to Junior Parliament. Welcome back to Cruise 5, and today my guest is the adorable Ambassador Virginia Palmer, the American ambassador to Malawi, and she's getting to tell us more about her life. And did you know what? She danced to Pata Pata with the former president of America, Barack Obama. Must have been fantastic.
That's one of my highlights of my tour in South Africa.
And we are in this magnificent house, and I'm wondering, is this all you have? You certainly must have other places that we can go and see.
Would you like to go outside?
I would love to go outside for sure.
To the garden?
Let's go.
Great.
So this is very refreshing. We're now outside here, and looks like we've got company.
Sorry, these are my kuku and demo. Yes, this is an American tradition. I hope they're not listening, but we eat them at Thanksgiving time.
Well, it's very concerned. I think she might have heard what you're saying. You eat them for Thanksgiving.
And not these two, I will say that. These two I raised from when they were tiny babies. But it was my daughter's project initially, and now I'm very fond of them.
So you're the one who raises these? You move with them from country to country?
No.
You found them here?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we found a few of them here, and then they have grown into a
breeding
flock.
here?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's amazing.
I'm a good farmer.
That's amazing. Okay, so about you representing your country, do you ever feel like there's too much expectation? I mean, you are from a first world country, and people always look up to America, Britain, and all these first world countries, especially when you're in a third world country like Malawi. Do you ever feel that pressure that probably there's too much expectation from you as an individual, but also from your country?
Well, no. I mean, I think the United States is viewed as a good partner of Malawi.
Yes.
And I think that's a valuable thing, and I want us to be a good partner.
Yeah.
We've talked recently about perverse incentives.
Yes.
Like, I don't want the fact that America is here and is investing in Malawi's development to make it so that the government doesn't have to make tough choices.
Yeah.
We came in, for example, last year with a lot of humanitarian assistance when Malawi had some very tough times. And the president and I had some good talks about how Malawi needed to break the cycle of food insecurity. Yeah. And I had to say to the president, like, we need to know that you're taking steps to break that cycle so that we're not having the same conversation about humanitarian assistance every year.
Do you think it's in America's interest that it is supporting Malawi or countries like Malawi? Do you ever feel like maybe it would be difficult to break this cycle?
Well, you know, I think it is in America's interest. Malawi is a good partner of the United States.
Okay.
And that's true across a lot of spectrums. Malawi punches above its weight internationally. I talk about this a lot, but Malawi being the first country in the world to adopt option B+, to put every pregnant woman who had HIV on ART therapy.
On ART therapy, yeah.
Changed the way the world looked at mother-to-child transmission of HIV.
Yes.
And so Malawi has a great reputation in Washington because of that leadership. Malawi also plays a really important role in international peacekeeping. Your soldiers fight with distinction in the DRC, and they have a perfect record of zero bad behavior to civilians. So they're a model for other peacekeepers. So I think those kinds of things help me make the case that we should help Malawi become as prosperous as Malawians want to be. And I think one of the things I'd like to see is people demanding more of government, no matter who's governing. You know, saying, and it's true at national levels and local levels, like, where is my clinic officer at 11 o'clock in the morning when my wife is in labor? And where is the teacher who's supposed to be teaching my kids? Are they off paying their electric bill, or are they in the classroom? And again, most teachers are very committed. Most nurses are on the job working extra long hours for very little pay. But the ones that aren't ought to be held accountable. People who are stealing Malawian taxpayer dollars ought to go to jail. And I think Malawians could be more demanding of that.
What will it take to break that cycle, to get people angry, to get people to demand stuff? Because, I mean, as a Malawian, I would say probably people have gotten conditioned to this, and then you start looking at it as a way of life.
Yeah.
Like, this is normal, but it's not normal. Right. What is it going to take?
That's a good question. I was going to ask you the same thing. I mean, I think the president is right about public sector reform, and the vice president was leading an important charge on behalf of the president. I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see real implementation of it, not just talking about it.
Exactly.
And I'd like to see
there's a lot of talk, actually.
There is a lot of talk, but there's also the expectation, I think, that it comes from the top, and I think that's not right. Leadership needs to come from the top, but the sort of accountability and demands for transparency need to come from the bottom. People in the media need to say, hey, where's my clinic worker, where's my teacher?
Yeah.
Why am I not getting the services for which I paid rates, that kind of thing. I think we need all of us to work on it together, and I think young Malawians need to think about what kind of Malawi they want for the future and what they're going to do about it.
America as a country, some people think it's a bit imperialistic. It's appointed itself the world police and, you know, meddling in affairs that don't really concern it as a country. What do you think about it?
I hope it's not true. I mean, I can see how people would get that impression. I mean, I think we're true to our principles, and we're very upfront about that. So I think we're contrasted, for example, with the Chinese, who come with no strings attached, and we do have strings. We want the government.
Lots of strings, I must say.
Well, we want the governments we support to honor the human rights of their populations.
Lots of strings.
Yeah, fair enough. But I also am very proud of the American brand. It does come with strings, but it's worth it. Our companies come here, we're not corrupt. We upskill local populations. And I think, you know, all boats rise when that is the case.
Because I mean, like, okay, but if China can do it without strings attached, then that means it's a model that could possibly work with any other country.
Yeah, but I think if it's U.S. taxpayer money, then it needs to be representative of American values and principles, and countries can choose whether to deal with the hassles of dealing with the Americans, which I would argue is worth it, or
I say, okay, take your money. I think we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it without your money. That's very interesting. And your country is actually going through very interesting times now under President Trump.
Indeed.
I followed the elections quite closely, and I noted that a lot of Americans were really surprised with his win. What was it like back home? I mean,
well, you know, I was here.
Yes.
I had a big party. Had 250 people come and watch the election results.
On election night.
I think I've lived overseas for a long time. I underestimated how polarized American politics has become.
Yes.
And I think it's a problem. I think we need to talk to each other. We need to sort of climb the empathy wall, and we need to understand each other's concerns better. Because clearly, I think there's a large portion of the American population that feels like they weren't represented.
They're not happy.
Yeah, but I also think that people like me need to do a better job of explaining what we do internationally and why international things matter. The United States is very big. A lot of Americans are very parochial because we can be. It's a luxury, you know. We don't drive like Europeans and in 2 hours are in another country. You could drive for days and you're still in America.
You're still in America.
Yeah, but we live in a world which is globalized, and we need to understand about the world. We need to participate in it. We need to find deals that are in the mutual interest of a lot of different countries.
Staying with the politics in your country, what are the prospects? Are you excited about the prospects that your country faces under the current presidency? Because I think it's a huge shift from the Democrats to the Republicans and their styles of governance.
There's absolutely a difference in style. I think the principles are not all that different.
Yeah.
I think, you know, President Trump said America first. But that isn't new. In fact, we're always trying to keep America safe and create jobs and opportunities for Americans. And even the work I'm doing in Malawi does that. I think foreign assistance done right can accomplish those goals for the United States.
Let's talk about music. Okay. Exciting music. So we've done some Tay Green, we've done some Miriam Makeba. What are we going to do now?
Well, I have a couple. There's a sentimental one for me.
Yes.
And I was trying to pick a favorite country song.
Yes.
And one of the ones that I have always liked, but particularly like right now, is called "I Loved Her First" by. I'm now blanking on the name of the group. Sorry. I Loved Her First, and it's by a band. But my eldest daughter just Heartland. That's it. Thank you. I'm going to start with an A. My eldest daughter just got engaged.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? That's exciting.
We're very fond of my future son-in-law.
She's not the one that is in Malawi, is she?
No, this is the big girl who's in Boston right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so we're all very excited about that. It's like the news is 2 weeks old.
Riverfront
Oh my
Concert
God,
Series
that's
right here on
And
GAC.
that's a song
I'm your
that
host,
you
Blake
would dance
Shelton.
to at your wedding.
Hey,
but
all you
know
fathers
about
and
the
daughters
daddy
out
saying,
there,
"I Loved
pay
Her
attention.
First."
Yes.
One of the stage
I Love Her
for
First
Heartland.
by Heartland. Fantastic song. Let's get to see it.
You dancing that way, lost in the moment, in each other's face. So much in love, you're alone in this place, like there's nobody else in the world. I was enough for her not long ago, and I was her number one. She told me so, and she still means the world to me, just so you know. So be careful when you hold my girl. Time changes everything, and life must go on, and I'm not gonna stand in your way. Sing it! I loved her first, I held her first, and a place in my heart will always be hers. From the first breath she breathed, when she first smiled at me, I knew the love of my father unseen. And I prayed that she'd find you someday, but it's still hard to give her away. You take it! Very nice! How could that beautiful woman with you be the same freckle-faced kid that I knew, one that I read all those fairy tales to, tucked in the bed all those nights. And I knew the first time I saw you with her, it was only a matter of time. Sing it with me! I loved her first, I held her first, and a place in my heart will always be hers. From the first breath she breathed, when she first smiled at me, I knew the love of my father.
Country and Western music.
Yeah.
Fantastic music. Do you have any favorite country and Western artists?
Well, you know, I like a lot of them. Sam Hunt is a new one that I like very much.
And there's this new contemporary country and Western that is coming. I mean, it's awesome. There's the fusions of a bit of pop and a bit of country and Western.
Exactly. And Sam Hunt actually raps a little bit in his songs.
Yes.
I noticed in Malawi people like stuff like the classics, sort of 20,
like
30
Don
years
Williams and Dolly Parton and.
I like that too.
Yeah.
But I like the contemporary stuff
The
better.
contemporary one, it's really good. It's really good. So, you told me about your daughter who just got engaged, which is, I think, fascinating. Tell me about raising these girls. Were you going with them all over the place?
We were all over the world.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm proud that both girls have a very strong sense of community service.
Yes.
And they've been exposed to all different kinds of things. They don't take things for granted, which I'm happy about.
Yeah.
I think it's Americans are very blessed, and we tend to take those blessings for granted.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that we all sort of reflect on what we should be thankful for, and think about what we can do on our own little corner of the world. You know, wherever you are, to do your bit. So I'm proud that my girls think that way.
I think living in countries like this, that's when you learn that people need to be a bit more grateful with what they have, because not everybody has what people in America, for example, do.
Yeah, and then also you need to make a contribution wherever you are.
Yes.
So my daughter is working on a higher education program in the refugee camp here, and I'm proud of the work she's doing, and she comes home just crackling with enthusiasm because she's working with a remarkable bunch of young people.
Mm-hmm. Is she going to stay behind?
She'll probably be in Malawi longer than we are.
She's loving it. She's loving it. So, who do you stay with here at home?
Just my husband and my small daughter, and the elder daughter is in the United States studying.
Doesn't life get a bit lonely?
Well, by American standards, again, I'm lucky to have the grown-up daughter here. Normally, you graduate from university and you get your own place. So
because for us, you know, we have got this communal
Extended
behavior, so
families.
it's extended family, so there's always somebody in the house.
well, you know, I go home and see my extended family at home
Yeah.
when I go home, and I have Malawian friends and a job which I do find exciting. So I know.
And I saw your 2 dogs.
yes, yes, 2 dogs and
Very naughty dogs.
and a
And
flock
Google
full of
them as
turkeys.
well.
Yes, yes, exactly.
How do they live? How do they live together?
Not particularly well.
Do they get to fight at some
No,
point?
Yeah, well, in fact, if there's 1 dog, the turkeys will chase the dog back up to the house. If there are 2, then the turkeys are in trouble.
The male turkey, they can be quite aggressive at times.
Yes, well, they're pretty nice.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm just saying that because they're your turkeys.
Maybe. They're friendly to me.
Fantastic. Let's talk about the next song that we'd like to listen to.
Okay, great. I picked one classical music song.
Aha.
We talked about how my mother's a piano teacher.
Yes.
So I did grow up with my mother practicing all day
Yes.
long, and then hearing her students in the house playing the piano.
Yeah.
So I also kind of have a recent experience of this song. It's Bach's Suite Number 3.
Wow.
And sometimes called Air on a G string.
Yes.
But I went to a play that was a Malawian-German cooperation.
Yes, yes.
At Crawford's Hotel.
Nanzikambe, I think.
Exactly.
Must be. Yes, yes.
And they played this song, and I couldn't remember the name of it, and the German ambassador sent it to me. So sort of nice sort of friendship from my new friend, the German ambassador, and reminds me of home.
Bach, Sebastian Bach.
You're right.
It's very, very good classical music.
Yes, it's beautiful.
It's really nice.
And it's sad.
Yeah, it is sad. Does it remind you of anything?
Not in particular. It's very sort of evocative and moving.
It reminds you of your mom and all the classical music and all the piano lessons that.
Exactly.
So Bach then, Suite
Number 3.
Suite Number 3.
Or Air on a G string.
Okay, so let's listen to some Bach now. Suite Number 3. Being at the ambassador's residence is a refreshing experience. We were sitting there at the, what do you call that? The conde. But you don't call it conde in America. A veranda. Okay, veranda is a quite common name in Malawi as well. We call it conde, of course. But there's also the fish pond. Beautiful fish.
I do enjoy this.
Yes.
This is one of the nice. Malawi is such a blessing to live here because the weather is fabulous all year round.
Yeah.
And I do have a nice big yard.
I didn't know how good our weather was until I stayed for a year and a half in London.
Yeah, exactly.
It was always overcast.
Yeah, exactly. Or cold.
And cold. And I mean, when they said it was warm, I was like, this is freezing cold. Right. There's nothing warm about this.
Malawians complain about the cold. I'm like, oh, my brother, you don't know cold.
You don't know cold. So tell me about the fish. I mean, what are they? What are they?
Oh, they're just goldfish.
Okay.
And there's a lot of tadpoles in there because I have a very African frog who has successfully called other frogs to him, I think. and then there are a couple of the like guppies from Lake Malawi.
There's the white one.
Yeah, that's not gold. It's also a goldfish, but it's the same kind of fish.
It's a white goldfish.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the red goldfish
exactly.
as well.
And then there's some with mix.
Do you feed them?
I do. You want to feed them?
Yeah. Please show us how you do it.
No, you just
because there should be a lot of planktons and stuff in there.
But I do feed them every day. I just give them a handful.
Someone was telling me that they look overfed. Are you able to tell if they have been?
No,
if they've been fed enough?
You only feed them for a couple of minutes.
Okay.
And then.
Let's take a walk in the other parts of the place.
My husband is a very serious tennis player.
Oh, is he?
Yes. So he's happy that we have a tennis court.
Does he play competitive sports or?
He's 64 now, but he at one stage won the non-white South African Open.
Wow.
Because they had no normal sport in an abnormal society.
Okay.
So he was invited to play with white leagues, but his father wasn't allowed to go watch the matches.
Oh, what a shame.
So he wouldn't play in those leagues.
Oh.
So he won the non-white competitions then.
Where did you meet your husband?
On an airplane in South Africa. on my way to see another man is the whole story. Yeah. And I talk very fast, as you've seen, so it was a 45-minute flight.
You were going to see another man?
Yes.
And
then I sat down next to Ismail on the airplane. And then I went back to America, and he called me every day. I thought he'd lost his mind.
Yeah.
And that was back in the day when you
it was really tenacious. Yes.
Cost real money.
So the only way to talk was just to call.
Exactly.
So he would call, and then you'd stay on the call for a long time.
Yeah. And so then 10 months later, I went to go see him.
Okay.
Yeah. And we got engaged.
Refreshing, as I was saying. This is the American ambassador's residence. And I'm just getting to, I was spoiled for choice. So many nice places, and this is the gazebo.
Yes.
Do you ever come here often?
We do. We can come out here and eat. Or, my husband's a serious tennis player, as we were saying.
Exactly.
So come and watch him play tennis.
Do people come here to play tennis as well, or it's just your family?
Oh no, it's open for the embassy community. So the Malawians who work at the embassy and the Americans come and take lessons or play.
It's just tennis, right? Is there anything else that goes on there?
There's a basketball net there.
Okay.
So the Marines come on Fridays.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Shooting some hoops. Fantastic. Do you ever get to play a bit of tennis?
I have not been invited to that. No.
It would be interesting to see you play tennis or something.
Oh, tennis, I've taken lessons.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
You have a good Malawian coach.
Fantastic. Yeah. Nice place and nice spaces. I'm sure it must be very refreshing coming here and hosting people as well. You do get a lot of people coming over.
Speaking of which, would you like a cup of coffee?
Oh, that would be nice. Okay, that would be awesome.
Noelle's
fantastic.
Standing by.
Oh, great. So thoughtful.
Noelle is very important to my being able to do my job.
Really?
He's a huge, big help to me.
You have a lot of Malawian stuff. Have you been learning any Chichewa, by the way? I don't know if you have time for that at all.
I can say it's como conviene, Noelle.
Oh, you're able to say that at least.
And takolandilani.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Talking about languages, I'm told English is not the only language that you speak.
I speak Chinese.
Oh, really?
And I studied French, although the Chinese is pushing the French from my brain.
Oh, those languages, I mean, they're like worlds apart. I mean, for you to master one language and the other, I mean, they don't come from the same family.
No, they don't. And they don't interfere with each other, but they interfere with they don't interfere with English, but they interfere with each other.
Oh, yeah,
so
okay.
I have
so you're like, am I thinking in Chinese or in French?
Exactly.
Where do you learn your Chinese?
In university, and then in Taiwan for a year.
And then the French?
Also in university and high school.
Was it mandatory that you learn another a foreign language, or it was just out of interest?
No, I was just interested.
Okay.
And actually, when I studied international relations, they did require that you speak 2 languages.
Yeah, it comes in handy, I guess.
Yes.
Because I mean, you're always meeting people who speak other languages. I mean, you at least need to know another big and important
It's
language.
helpful.
Yeah.
Again, Americans are not as good at that as the Europeans who speak many, and Africans who speak many languages.
Oh yeah,
We're
speak
completely fluent in
tons and
more
tons
than
of
one.
languages.
Yeah. But that's sort of one of the perils of being as big as we are. I think that's changing. I think there are more and more young people in America interested in learning foreign languages.
Yeah. After this, are you going to do more work, or are you just going to go home and?
Well, I would
retire?
love to stay overseas, and I do love this job. So
Yes.
I would love to have another post, but it's still early because I'll be here for at least another year.
You
So we
always
don't
set
know.
out to be, I mean, a globetrotter, moving from one country to another.
Yeah, it could be. Home wouldn't be so bad either. So we'll just see.
Yeah.
You know, we probably really won't even start working on that for another 6 months. So
Yeah.
now I'm really in Malawi.
So now you're just
Yeah.
here and relaxing. Do you ever go in the countryside? I mean, not on
Not officially.
official duties.
Sure.
Yeah.
Malawi's beautiful.
Yeah?
So I've tried to see as much of it as I can.
Which places have you been to?
I tell you where I haven't been yet. I haven't been to Lacoma Island, but I'm
Oh
going
my
in December.
goodness! You should go
Yes,
there.
I'm intending to.
You should
And
go
I
there.
haven't
It's a
been to-
fantastic place to be at.
I'm told. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And it
It's-
has one of the most romantic hotels in the world. I'm
It's
told.
glorious.
Yeah.
It's glorious.
And I haven't been to the Nika Plateau yet.
Oh my goodness!
But I otherwise have been to Chitipa and
Yes.
down to Nsanje
Yeah.
and been to Mount Mulanje and
Oh.
been to the tea plantations, been various places on the lake. And Malawi truly is beautiful.
We are getting to the end of our discussion in Cruise 5. My guest today, the American Ambassador Virginia Palmer. I would just like you to tell me what you find fascinating about life. What are you really passionate about as a person?
Well, I mean, I love my job.
Yes.
And I love my family very deeply.
Yeah.
And I think one of the sort of, you ask about issues or things to be passionate about. One thing I think which kind of combines some of that is empowering adolescent girls and young women. When I had my daughters, I was conscious of the fact that they were perfect before they were aware that there were imperfections that they could have,
Yes.
and that they were really capable of being and becoming anything that they wanted to be.
Yes.
And I want all girls to feel that way. And I want it to be true. I want it to be possible for all girls and boys.
Yeah.
But I think the girls need an extra hand in
They
a place
do.
like Malawi. So I'm excited about the work that we're able to do in partnership with the government of Malawi, and that's kind of keeping me ticking.
Meeting the president of Malawi, what is it like? Do you get to meet often?
I really like President Mutharika.
Do you?
He's a gentleman and a scholar, and I think his heart is in the right place.
Yeah.
I like him personally very much.
Is it the American connection? Probably. That
Well, we
is
do have an American connection, which is nice,
Yeah.
but he's all about Malawi.
Yeah.
But I respect that he cares deeply about his country, and because I know where he came from in the United States, I kind of know what he forsook to return to Malawi.
Yes, yes.
And that makes me appreciate his commitment. And I'm a sort of a rooter for public service reform and for some of the things that he's doing as a he for she champion.
Yeah. I've got a set of questions that I'd like to ask you, and I would like you to just answer me with a simple yes or no.
Oh, okay.
Would you like to play that game?
All right, we'll see.
So I'm going to play the cruise questions game with Ambassador Virginia Palmer. A series of questions. The only one that you'll have to answer in full is where I ask you your full name, and
Okay.
after that we get into the game. So tell me what your full name is.
My full name is Virginia Evelyn Palmer.
Do you have any tattoos?
I do not.
Do you have any piercings?
Yes,
Do you have children?
yes,
Have you ever shot a gun?
yes,
Have you cried over someone?
yes,
Have you killed a chicken before?
no.
Have you gotten into a
Worried about my
fight before?
turkeys. What am I going to do?
Have you gotten into a fight before?
No.
Have you
Yes,
got
with my brother. Yes, I have.
Have you gotten any surgeries before?
Yes,
Have you ever been hospitalized?
yes,
Have you donated blood?
yes,
Have you ever smoked weed?
no,
Have you ever drunk alcohol?
yes,
Have you broken someone's heart?
yes.
Have you had a crush on
Been a
someone?
while. Yes.
Okay, we'll have to stop it.
Yeah, because I'm getting out.
I can see you're relieved.
Thank
It's
you.
been a pleasure talking
Thank
to
you very much.
Yeah, I must stand proud, loud, raise my voice to the sky now. I'm an African star now. Anything I put my mind to, I can go for. No one can put me down. Boots on the ground, I'm an African child. Books on my mind, vision up high in the clouds. Intelligent African child.
Reach out for your dreams.
Reach out for your dreams, reach out for your dreams, reach out for your dreams. Go.
Reach out for your
Reach out for your dreams, reach out for your dreams, reach out for your dreams. Go.
Straight A's when I write exams, cause I know what I want, achieve my goals I can. That's why I'm taking my time, cause I know time I got siku fika. They say they make a rap, but for this girl try to rap. Keep my hopes alive, no more turning back. I wanna be the change I wanna see. Who knows, I could be a lawyer, or maybe a doctor, or run this country. These are the dreams of an African child.
Reach out for your dreams.
Reach out for your dreams, reach out for your dreams, reach out for your dreams. Go.
Reach out for your
Reach out for your dreams, reach out for your dreams, reach out for your dreams. Go.
Schoolgirl is a proud girl, she's a wise girl, she can be more. Schoolgirl has a future, true to her, she can do more. You learn, I learn, educate, it's your right. Don't let anyone stand in your way, or anyone slow you down. The rest is for another day. Have your say, choose your way. Be strong, be proud, for your nation, scream loud.
Reach out for your dreams.
Reach out for your dreams, reach out for your dreams, reach out for your dreams. Go.
Reach out for your
Reach out for your dreams, reach out for your dreams, reach out for your dreams. Go. We're doing it for us. Positive living is a must. Ahead of the curve, live that negative vibe in the dust. We do what we must. Hands in the air if you feel us.
Gone are days we used to drop out. Marry early, no, early babies. Focus on the future, ladies.
Now reach out and vibe with me. Reach out and stand, intelligent African child. Reach out and vibe with me. Reach out and stand, intelligent African child.